Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I'm Tyler here with my brother Ryan. Today we are breaking down the Seattle Seahawks 2024 NFL Draft. It's a lot of fun watching the NFL Draft this weekend, and these will be the Seattle Seahawks selections. But before we do that, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and also tackle that bell to get notified when new videos come out. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the start of the 2024 NFL season, so any and all help right now is greatly appreciated. Ryan, let's pull up the Seahawks slides here. Start off with Byron Murphy here. I feel like this was one of the more boring picks. I think that's kind of went under the radar in the first round, but super effective. Comes in.
Yeah.
One of the weaknesses on the Seattle team was the interior on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And I think getting Byron Murphy in here, I think immediately helps out for now and then also the foreseeable future. And one of the things, too, I mentioned in the Cardinals video as well, there's almost like there's been this adoption of now the modern day edge rush, like that outside linebacker, like the Will Anderson, TJ Watts, et cetera, so to say. I think now Byron Murphy can kind of switch into that now evolution of now like the new modern day defense tackle, which is really like just like what was 20 years ago, like just your defensive end, just this really big but super quick guy off the line. And I think he can evolve into that as well. And I think he's going to be a great fit here in Seattle.
Yeah, and so for me, Byron Murphy was defensive tackle 1 in this class, and really solid against the run, really solid in collapsing the pocket from the top and creating quarterback pressures that way. So all in all, I just think this was a really good pick by the Seattle Seahawks that, like you said, kind of just needed to shore up the defensive line as a whole. And so I really like this fit. He's a great player, and I mean, look, a great defensive tackle just left the NFC West, and not to say that he's going to be have the Hall of Fame career that Aaron Donald did, but they just got another really great defensive tackle in that division as well. So I think that's a really solid pick there by the Seahawks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go ahead and move on now to, they do not have a second round pick, but they do have a third rounder here, and they got Christian Haynes. Speaking of addressing the interior of that offensive line, Christian Haynes from UConn, going to be a solid pick, really athletic, powerful guard that I think is going to come in and be a starter from day one.
Yeah, he was a guy been watching out through this entire offseason process. Was just always just solid. He didn't rise nearly as much like Jackson Powers Johnson, but I think he was consistently up here. You knew he was going to be a top 100 pick, and didn't fall nearly as far as the other Christian Mahogany as well, who fell pretty big. So I think the Seahawks here as well. Also, too, to add, the 78th pick did go to was like for Sam Howell, so to say, even though they did trade back like to 102, which we'll get to that pick here in a second. But I think they were probably going to use that 78th pick as a backup quarterback, so they essentially kind of did. And getting Sam Howell, which I think is good depth and also developmental piece. But here with Christian Haynes, once again, similar kind of talking points as the previous pick. Just struggled on the defensive interior. On the offensive interior. And so getting him here, they've addressed this already in the free agency, but I think now you have a good long-term option for the future for Seattle here. A guy like Christian Haynes is going to come in, help out with Charles Cross, help out with Abraham Lucas as well. And hopefully, too, start freaking developing a good running game. They have great running back room back there with Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. It's sad to see that. I think they were, what?
They were like the 30th ranked
30th team. I'm blanking on it right now.
They had some injuries, but they were not a good running team last year.
Well, and I also think as well, too, with some of the deficiencies maybe that they had to start the season, is that I think they got behind a lot of games. And so it kind of forced them to start to throw the ball a little bit more. If they could get a more balanced attack, and with how good Kenneth Walker is and how good Zach Charbonnet is, that running back room just as a whole, I really think that this could be one of the best offenses in the league. When you still look at DK Metcalf, then you got Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba. And so I think dressing the interior here, and it's one of the things I like about this draft as we kind of keep moving on here a little bit to the day 3 picks, is they have other offensive line picks as well just to help out. And so, but starting off, they did get Tyrus Knight and A.J. Barner addressing that kind of middle part of that defense, addressing that front 7. But A.J. Barner, I think, at tight end, coming here. Noah Font, I'm pretty sure is the tight end that's still there. Yeah. So he's getting up there in age, but get a guy in Michigan. It was neat. The Detroit crowd really liked that pick. But again, Jeremiah Pritchett as well, cornerback from Auburn. They got a couple Auburn cornerbacks here. I'll skip the next one, but then DJ James as well, dressing that secondary, just trying to get some more depth in there.
Yeah, and then said Teoa Lomea, I believe I have no idea if that's the correct pronunciation. Some interior offensive line depth, and then Michael Jarrell, much easier to pronounce. Just adding some more offensive line depth there. Can't play tackle, can probably kick into guard as well. And
that's what I'm going to say. Being at Finley here, I really like that they really focus on the interior of the offensive line. I know there's 3 guard picks essentially, but what we've seen with some of these other teams, like just throw bodies at it, one of these guys has got to stick, So I like that they bring in this competition, bringing in this depth overall, and can rotate guys in and out, really develop these guys as well. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I like this draft class, because they really address their key weaknesses or their key areas of needs with, I think, some solid players.
No, yeah, I 100% agree. So Tom and I, we do grades for all of these drafts. So let's get into our grades for these drafts here. I don't know actually why I gave them a C+. I don't know if that got mixed up, but overall, I felt this was just like a good draft class. I'm trying to pull up their
overall draft. For me, I know an A- is they have good skill position players. Their biggest thing was the trenches, and I think that's where they really prioritize. Getting Byron Murphy, I think, comes out it helps out a lot. But then addressing the 3 interior offensive alignment spots, both with Christian Haynes. Yes, it was a 3rd-round pick and then a couple of later-round picks. But still, in general, though, I think the value was good. And just throwing a lot of bodies in it, and I think they can go and develop that. Because they can fix those areas here. The Seahawks team, I think, could be really good. I also really like them, too. They did pick up Sam Howell as a backup. I think he can be a guy that they can go and develop whenever Geno Smith does move on. Because Sam Howell did have a lot of good things on tape. I think he was just in a horrible situation in Washington, and just really just kind of set up to fail. Because also he had a horrible offensive line as well.
Yeah, so I do. So for me, C or a B- to a B was like average. So I have this slightly below average. One, I did feel maybe getting like a true edge rusher was probably a bigger need over getting like a true defensive tackle there in the 1st round. But I do really like Byron Murphy. So I guess like that's neither here nor there. And then also they didn't really have a 2nd-round pick. And so how I was weighing the top 100 picks more than I was the day 3 picks. And the majority of this class is in day 3, and they didn't have that 2nd-round pick. So I guess that is the contributing factors to why I said a C+. Maybe I give it a B-, so it's just like slightly on the bottom side of average in reality. But yeah, I like all in all, I think they added a bunch of good players. It's just the lack of top 100 picks, I think, is the real like fault here.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of the Seattle Seahawks 2024 draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.